Hey guys, and welcome back to the Geeks of the Multiverse podcast. I'm Brandon, and as always, I'm joined by Will.
Hi guys.
This episode will be our June 2025 recap, where we'll be discussing some of the news from the last month. So join us as we talk about the Batman Part 2 script finally being done, or at least with its first draft anyway. Then we'll be jumping over to some DCU news, as we have finally gotten our Clayface casting. Then some MCU news. Speaking of castings, The Punisher has been cast in Spider-Man 4, and the MCU has found its X-Men director in Thunderbolts' Jake Schreier. Then we'll be finishing up the podcast with some quickfire news. So, let's get into it. It's done. Finally.
Well, it's been...
People can stop pestering the poor man.
Yeah, until James Gunn reads it and it's like, no, write it over again. And then we go back to... We're back to 2022.
I mean, honestly, this bodes very well for my aspirations to be playing Robin. Just give me a little bit more time. I'll be out of drama school. Let's do it, Matt.
Mr. Reeves.
Mr. Reeves. Yeah, so a couple of days ago, Mattson Tomlin, the writer of the first film, and Matt Reeves, the writer and director, they posted a picture of them with the script. It is done. Mattson Tomlin has also posted, I think, just today, some like journals that he's written for during his process of writing the film.
There's like 4 of them, like 4 just full notebooks of like, damn. Do you think it's just like all stuff from like different comics he's read, or just like crazy ideas?
I think any idea he has, he probably gets it down. And yeah, 4 notebooks worth.
I don't think
of ideas and probably script chunks and whatever.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever filled up a singular notebook of writing stuff in my life.
No, me neither.
In 3 years of writing.
That's insane. I mean, this is kind of like, I mean, not that I'm saying just because they've written it and they've written a lot of notes doesn't mean it's going to be good, but this is how you kind of know it's going to be good.
Could you imagine trying to find like one specific thing you've written down? I'm sure it was in this notebook. Fucking 300 pages trying to find one singular note.
During the pitch meeting to James Gunn, he's like, wait, I got it. Wait.
4 hours later.
He's probably spent the last 3 years trying to find that one note. That's why we're so delayed.
Yeah, he had that one idea, and it was in there somewhere.
Yeah. So yeah, people can finally get off Matt Reeves' back. I think they're supposed to be going into pre-production later this year. Starting production, what is it, early next year? Is that kind of the time frame we're thinking?
They'll probably film like spring or summer next year.
Do you reckon as late as that?
Yeah, Matt Reeves usually has about a year of like post-production. So let's say by spring, I mean like March, not February, March. It's late winter, early spring.
Okay, yeah.
More so than like April.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that being the case.
Well, 3 or 4 months of filming, and then a year for the CGI and whatnot, and editing, all that stuff.
It's good. I mean, it's nice that. What's really nice is that it's been given the room it needs to breathe. I mean, could you imagine rushing out that film, like especially after it being so long since the first one? Like, you can't be rushing that kind of stuff. So I'm glad that they've been given that opportunity by James and by Peter to actually flesh it out and make sure it's where it needs to be. Obviously, we know that Matt Reeves has been going through some personal stuff as well over the last year or two that has probably contributed towards the delay. But yeah, it'd be nice to finally have those people shut the hell up. And now we've just got the people saying it's going to be in the DCU.
Yeah, that's going to go on for another 2 years until the film comes out, and it's not.
Until both of them are. Not even no. Because even when that film comes out, I think The Brave and the Bold needs to be out before people shut up about that. Because
or until DCU Batman shows up, like in another thing.
potentially Clayface.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good place to put him, but we'll get onto that later. Yeah, I mean, James has only very recently said once again that, look, I mean, yes, we've considered it. Yes, we have to consider everything, but it's not impossible, but it's incredibly unlikely. So, yeah, people just need to chill out a bit with that one. Hopefully, did the cinematographer, what's his name?
Greg
Fraser. Yeah, Greg Fraser. He commented, didn't he?
Yeah, he didn't
on the post.
Yeah, it's not like saying that he's gonna like do it, because it could just be him like, yeah, well done guys, but like,
yeah, supporting his friends.
Yeah, you'd hope he would, because that's it's kind of a big part of the first film is how it looked.
Massive part. I mean, he really set a tone there.
Yeah.
Obviously, we there's been quite a bit of discourse about that not discourse, but like discussion and debate on whether he's going to return, because we know that Denis Villeneuve wants him back for Dune Prophecy. So it depends on shooting schedules of those. In fact, isn't Pattinson in Dune Prophecy?
Yeah, he is. So I think
so there can't be any crossover there. We should be okay with having Greg back, depending on obviously on Pattinson's size role in the film. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's helped that the Penguin did come out in between the two films, because I think if that didn't happen and it was literally just like 5 years by the time it actually comes out of nothing, I think it would be a lot more strenuous than
it's been a massive help. I mean, and they're also saying that they're looking into more spin-offs as well, so yeah, I think obviously this kind of turnaround is unusual, but we know from the Planet of the Apes films and every other thing that Matt has directed, he's the kind of writer that likes to take his time. So if it's this kind of turnaround, maybe a little bit faster for the next one, if you're throwing in a couple of spin-offs in between, I'm okay with that.
What was the I think it was only 3 years between the 8 movies.
Was it? I felt like a lot longer.
2014 and then 2017.
Okay. Yeah, that's not awful. I mean, obviously, but then the thing is, like, you look at the MCU films, like, it was like 5 years in between Doctor Strange films. Yes, we saw him in Avengers films in between, but like, still, the turnaround on a lot of big franchise films is either really short and undercooked, or it's super long and you have to wait a bit longer, but the project, the final product is usually pretty good.
And you can't forget either, there was the writing strike as well at one point.
Exactly.
I think people forget about that.
Yeah.
And then the film got delayed by a year for that, and then it got delayed again another year. So to be honest, it probably could have come out this. I think it probably originally. I don't even remember like the actual date that they originally set for the second one. I know.
No,
there was one next year, and then there was one in 2027, which is what it is now. But I'm sure it probably.
That's wild. What month in 2027?
It's like October, isn't it?
God, wow.
Yeah.
Jesus, I'm gonna be 24.
Oof.
We're gonna be 24.
Oof.
That's insane.
I think it probably would have come out this year without all of the something getting in the way.
Oh, hey, okay. Yeah, but I mean, the good thing is it's on its way. It's at least the first complete draft has been written. James Gunn said he's going to try and read it on the plane to the UK, which
he probably did.
I'm going to be seeing him tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
which is insane. Yeah. I'm going to be at a Q&A with him, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. Hopefully get some little tidbits that I can bring into next month's podcast, providing people ask the right questions and don't just ask, when's Batman going to show up?
No, when is the Creature Commandos going to be back?
Oh, fucking hell. But speaking of Creature Commandos characters, and speaking of the Batman showing up,
wow, nice one.
Clayface is moving up. All right, I know, right? Yeah, pretty slick.
Pretty slick.
Clayface is officially cast in the DCU. Tom Rhys-Harris, a Welsh actor, has been cast as the titular role. I believe it's the Basil Carlo iteration of the character.
Baz.
The one that we saw in the Batman the Animated Series, Feet of Clay episodes. The writer, what's the writer
of the film?
Yeah,
Mike Flanagan.
Mike Flanagan said very recently that he's incredibly inspired by those episodes. So we're on to a winner there, I think. But yeah, James Gunn, it was broken by deadline, but James Gunn took to Twitter and said, after a long and incredibly exhaustive search, we finally have our DCU Clayface in Tom Rhys-Harris. Both Matt Reeves and I were just blown away by this guy, and I can't wait for you to see this film. Directed by James Watkins and written by Mike Flanagan. There we go, the name is right in front of me. Yeah, I'm incredibly excited for this film. I think it'd be really nice to have something very different on the board. I mean, it's one of those films that James said, like, we weren't going to make this film. This wasn't in the original plan, but Mike came to us with a really solid script and we just had to make it. And I think that being the foundation that the DCU is built on is so great. That gives me such high hopes.
I honestly... Well, originally, do you remember, actually, going back to the Batman a little bit, there were those rumors that Clayface was going to be the villain of that. And obviously...
I do.
Obviously, people expected it to be like the... we watched the animated series that came out, like, last year or the year before?
Yes, yeah, and sort of a golden age kind of...
Yeah, he was just like a serial killer who got, like, different faces of people instead of, the big, mushy... monster bloke.
Yes.
So I was thinking like how they were gonna do that sort of story, but instead he's the big mushy monster bloke. Because
he is the big mushy monster bloke.
I don't think it's explained because he's in Creature Commandos, like you said before, but I don't think they ever say which one he is. Because obviously there's like 5 or more Clayfaces now.
Yes, yeah. Well, it was when James Gunn was asked, I believe he said, like if it will be the same Clayface, and he said that will be made clear in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I would assume it is the same one. I see no reason why it wouldn't be, or why it couldn't be, or why it shouldn't be. Especially if Clayface because spoilers for Creature Commandos. He dies, but also James Gunn has said that maybe he isn't. So if you're going to continue with that Clayface, you might as well kind of have him established as the DCU Clayface, and go through his origin and whatever. And I think that could be quite fun.
Oh, I don't know. I'm a bit less thinking that way than you, because
really?
I was thinking that he's not like a comedy character, but he's really weird in Creature Commandos. Because he's like, when he's pretending to be like that professor or whatever, in like the university, he's like, he's just very weird, and I don't know if I could see that from like this really dark, like straightforward horror film.
That is very true.
Because remember, he like boots up the Xbox and starts playing Mortal Kombat, and I couldn't imagine, if we're gonna see this like Mike Flanagan horror movie, or at least writing that horror movie, that it's the same iteration of the character.
Yeah, all it might be though is maybe the character's not more comfortable, maybe 10 years on or whatever into being Clayface. He's kind of accepted his fate and he's just living his life as is.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, the thing is, if he said that it will become clear, like, what if the film is like set like 50 years ago?
That could be very interesting. I mean, actually, yeah. Because, sort of like an old Hollywood kind of like actor, 50 years. Yeah, that could be really interesting, actually, yeah.
I feel like that would be better for the Batman, like, universe, though, just purely because I think that story does work better with the, like, face-swapping serial killer. I think that
is true.
I think that fits the vibe better.
I mean, there was rumors that that Clayface was going to be in the Penguin.
That
Like, I
was
remember, like
it's
3 or 4 years ago, that was the rumor.
there is a like his sister or cousin or something. I can't remember who it is. There is some Carlo person, I swear, in the Penguin. It's like
I
a
think
woman.
there is, yeah. Yeah, let me quickly.
Eve Carlo. Yeah, there it is. She's like the girlfriend. She's like Oz's girlfriend lady.
Okay.
Her name is Carlo. So.
Interesting.
I don't think they ever, reference like.
Oh no, sorry. The one I think the one from Batman the Animated Series was Matt Hagen. That's the one.
Yeah.
So I think that's the one they're doing. That's the one they're doing with the DCU movie. Basil Carlo is the one that was rumored to be in like the Penguin and the Batman.
Well,
and all
I don't know. It depends because it's not like they don't not have access to use all of them. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
About the movie, because did they cast him as Matt Hagen, like straight up? Have they said?
Let me take a look at the Deadline article.
If it just says Clayface, like. Because Alan Tudyk voices him in the TV show.
He does, yeah.
It just says Clayface, I think.
Oh yeah, Matt Reeves is producing the film as well because he's kind of got a hand in everything Batman.
I think he's gonna, I think
at DC.
Everything Batman related, he's gonna be producing. Just because he's doing like DCU stuff as well. There was that.
Yeah, it doesn't say anything as to which Clayface he's playing.
What did James Gunn say?
Interesting. He just said, found our Clayface in Thomas Rhys Harris.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking, is that maybe they do Basil Carlo and they said it in the past instead. That's my
that could be very interesting.
That's my Hail Mary theory here.
Okay, no, I don't hate it. I really quite like that. If it is set in modern day though, or like 10 years in the past or whatever, you got to put Batman in it. I mean, just even at the very end, like just the very end. Maybe he's still in silhouette or shadow or something, but you got to put Batman in it. I think no. Is that not...
It depends if they want. It depends. I think it just depends.
Because obviously they're working on the Brave and the Bold right now, so like, I don't know. Yeah, I just feel like maybe wouldn't be the worst idea.
I just think that it would make more sense for Batman to show up. It depends on how they portray Clayface in the film. If he is technically the protagonist, or
yeah,
the film
but it's that interesting thing where like
Clayface is there.
Yeah, I think it's that one of those interesting things though, where it's like that's kind of what the Sony spunk films should have been, where it's like, oh, here's Craven, but Spider-Man is the villain in this story. It's a POV from the villain's perspective. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing where I think they could do something really interesting with that, where like maybe if Batman's just not in the movie at all, where he's just at the end, like Clayface is going to go do a thing, and then lightning, Batman's on the roof, like a silhouette of Batman's on the rooftop, and he's like, "Oh fuck!"
Yeah,
it's like even just like a little bit, like it's like, "Oh, he's there."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
It depends. the contemporary, or like for horror films, right? When they're called like the name of a monster or something, it's usually following someone else, and the monster is lurking around in the background. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
So for example, with this, it could be like you're following the police, like GCPD officers or whatever, or like detectives.
Yeah.
And then Clayface is lurking around.
Well, who's the guy in the? It's not Rupert Thorne. Who's the guy in the Feet of Clay episode that, like, he gives him the goop?
The goop.
Yeah, he's the one who supplies Matt Hagen with the goop. Feet of Clay characters.
What's his time since I've seen it.
I've rewatched it like last week because I thought, ooh, that's coming up soon. That movie, I'm looking forward to that. Ronald Daggett. Yeah, like. Daggett Industries or whatever. I think he's the guy who kind of like who supplies him, and Roland Daggett or something like he's in an illegal scheme to take over. Yeah, it's the cream that
makes him,
because he's Matt Hagen had a car accident or whatever that left him disfigured. And then and then Daggett kidnaps him and he tries to kill Daggett or something. He overdoses him and drops him in a fucking big vat of the stuff and something like that. Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to have like maybe that guy is the antagonist of the film, maybe, and then Clayface is like he's not doing good things, but he's the protagonist. He's the POV character, I guess.
I suppose, yeah. I think it'll be the other way around, though. I do think that Clayface is going to be the bad guy.
That's conventional horror films, to be fair.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking with the inspiration from Feet of Clay,
mm-hmm.
It very much puts you in the shoes of Clayface. The feet of clay.
The feet of clay. Yeah. There you
go. But
how are you going to spin that into the next topic? Then?
I was just about to do it.
How's watch clay gonna turn into?
Watch this one. Watch this one. So yeah, Clayface has officially been cast. So that's good. Speaking of castings, God, he's good.
You know what? I don't know why. I thought you were gonna say speaking of people with feet.
Speaking of feet, you know who has two of them? The Punisher. The Punisher has joined Spider-Man 4. According to Hollywood Reporter, who broke the news, the Punisher is back for Spider-Man Brand New Day. As we know, he made his... Could you hear that? There's a big car engine.
There's a big car.
Yeah.
It's the Punisher.
Excuse me, sir. I'm recording a podcast here.
It's the Punisher.
Subscribe if you haven't. Oh. So yeah, as we know, the Punisher made his big return to the MCU just this year in Daredevil Born Again. He's going to be in Daredevil Born Again Season 2 that's currently filming and is coming out, I think, like a year on from the release of the last series or something. I don't even know. It's coming out next year. And we know in July, two Marvel things start production, that being Spider-Man Brand New Day, which is starting production in the UK. So Tom Holland can be close to his family. And then also The Punisher, Disney Plus special presentation is also starting to shoot in July. I think it's only supposed to shoot for like a couple of weeks because it's like only like a 40-minute special. But I would presume that's either going to be shooting on a studio lot or on the streets of New York. Who knows? But I would imagine maybe the UK, possibly, right? If they're going to be... both in...
They do both at the same time, or roughly?
You do both at the same... Like, do it like Superman and Peacemaker, where, you know, you can just cross them over on set.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, I don't know. Actually, funnily enough, both John Bernthal and Tom Holland have both just filmed The Odyssey with Christopher Nolan. And now they're going to be doing this together. So yeah, The Punisher in Spider-Man 4. What do we think?
Didn't we speak about this like 2 weeks ago? No, 2 months ago on the podcast. I swear I remember saying to you that there was a rumor that he was going to be in Spider-Man 4. When we talk about Ruffalo.
I'm not too sure. You know what? If one of our listeners could go back and listen back to the podcast and just email us, let us know. That'd be great.
Telephone, fax, or pigeon mail is accepted.
Send a raven.
Yeah.
Send a raven. Yeah. So I think there was a rumor.
A rumor?
Yeah, I think there was a rumor that... Because there was going to be a rumor that he was going to be teaming up with Spider-Man to take down the Hulk or something like that.
That's when the Ruffalo stuff was, when we were speaking about that, I think.
Yes, because much of the movie is shrouded in mystery at the minute, but websites have listed upwards of a dozen possible villains and crime bosses and alien symbiotes who could appear in the film, as well as like the Hulk and shit like that. So it's all very up in the air at the minute, but this one is 100% confirmed. He is in the film. And the current rumor or theory is Mr. Negative will cause the Hulk to go savage again, and Spider-Man will have to team up with the Punisher, because I guess the Punisher will just be around, to take him down. What a rogue choice for this film.
Yeah, and
I mean, I don't hate it. Like, the execution is entirely, you know, it's. I'm not going to hate until I see the final product. But how weird.
Very weird. It doesn't really seem to follow up on any of the stuff that they sort of set up in the last few films again. Still waiting for Scorpion or
I know.
The Shocker. Remember that guy?
I'm the Shocker. I shock things. I do remember that guy. There was two of them.
Well, he's in the like the old Spider-Man animated series as well, and that's what I was thinking, that maybe maybe they were going to do something like that where he's hunting Spider-Man, but no, they've gone the opposite direction.
Well, yeah, but isn't the Punisher a Spider-Man villain?
Technically, yeah.
Originally, I swear that's his. I think, right? Isn't that
it's in the
where his
episodes
first
where he,
appearance was something?
In the animated show, it's he's in the episodes like where he turns into an actual spider. Like, he starts growing extra limbs, and then he just turns into a spider,
right.
and he's hunting him. Like,
Punisher first made his appearance in the Amazing Spider-Man 129.
I could have understood it if maybe, they did the whole black suit Spider-Man. 'Cause, the Venom symbiote was still there in the last film.
Yeah,
that's probably never going to get followed up on. Like, he
no,
has that,
probably not. No,
and
I think they'll probably get that a
immediate.
different way. I think they'll forget that and do it again in Secret Wars.
Maybe, yeah. A separate drop of Venom shows up. But, like, yeah, if they could have done it where he has the black suit, and he's acting a bit odd, and maybe like, it can sometimes control him when he's not conscious.
Yes.
Like in the Spectacular Spider-Man, that happens. Like, maybe the Punisher, he goes like full wacko mode, and then the Punisher is chasing after him or like hunting him down and stuff.
Yeah, but the weird thing is the MCU Punisher has been set up as this guy who kind of doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
In the sense that, like, even in the most recent season of Born Again, where, like, yes, he eventually does go and help, but, like, he literally says to Matt, he's like, nah, I'm not going to help. I'm not going to go out there and do that. Why would he not get involved with stuff like that, but would get involved with shooting a Hulk? Like,
money.
It feels rogue, is all I'm saying. I don't hate it. I'm really very excited for Spider-Man to be teaming up with the Punisher in the MCU. And just to see the Punisher on the big screen is going to be very, very sick. I just think it's really weird. It's going to be I'm cautiously optimistic, I think, is where I'm at with it.
Yeah, until you get to the third act and like the multiverse opens and like
all
of the
I think we're safe
come
from
back.
that. I think we're very safe from any multiversal shenanigans in this film.
Are you sure? You're sure about that?
I think. Actually, I don't know. Maybe not.
you know when this film's coming out, don't you? Or
yeah, I do. But I do know it's before Doomsday, though. So
yeah, maybe
I think we might be safer.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not gonna say anything. I'll let you.
I know.
I'll let you keep your happy times.
Let me cope, okay? Let me cope. Yeah. So that's that. I mean, in an ideal world, right? The Kingpin movie rights are all Gucci, because I mean he is also a Spider-Man villain. He's not a Daredevil villain, Kingpin. He's a Spider-Man villain. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that was his first appearance as well. Kingpin first appearance. Yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 50, yeah. So in an ideal world, you get Punisher, you get Daredevil, and you get Kingpin, and that's the film. But I don't think that's going to be happening.
Nope, you get Hulk and Amy Pascal. There you go.
And Sadie Sink.
I forgot
but hey, you know what? In Daniel Destin Cretton we trust. Speaking of directors for the MCU, Jake Schreier, the Thunderbolts director. He has been chosen to direct
chosen one.
He is the chosen one to finally deliver us a good X-Men film. No, I'm joking. I love. No, I'm joking. I love First Class. I love Days of Future Past. X-Men 1's. It is what it is. It's pretty good. X2's pretty decent. But they're not X-Men films. They're not X-Men films.
They're not vibrant, colourful X-Men films. Well,
no, they're not that. But also
colourful. But the costumes.
No, but also like just the tone of it, like X-Men '97 or I guess the original animated series. That's the X-Men. That's what you need.
It came out at a time though, or like those early ones where every film was like that. Every like early 2000s film was like that.
Yes, that's very true. That's the thing though. This is why I don't mind X-Men and X-Men 2 because they are products of their time.
I think all of them are really, if you think about it. Like X-Men.
No, by the time you get into like Apocalypse, you should know better.
No, but like they're at the point where everyone's making like rip-off main MCU movies, so that's what it feels like.
Yeah, that's true, but also like just the tone of them. Like X-Men is like a teen drama. It's like X-Men is like gossip and fucking love affairs and
it's a wide range of things.
Politics and fucking
chess.
It's chess.
That happens.
Chess happens quite often, actually. Yeah. If you don't know what the X-Men are about and you can't be bothered to pick up a comic, first of all, pick up a comic. Second of all, watch X-Men '97. And to anyone out there who isn't really familiar with the X-Men, that's a really good sort of foundation, really, for what the tone should be. But yeah, I mean, Jake Schreier, I really liked the Thunderbolts. I'm going to be honest. Like, I thought it was really good. I think the general consensus is that is one of MCU's stronger films in recent years. Even though it didn't perform well at the box office, I think people generally have liked it. And also, everyone was a bit depressed, which is cool. Because it means you can treat people like real people. You can treat characters like real people, which is exactly what you need for the X-Men. Not depression, but well, in some of them, but you need them to be real people with real problems, and I think that if he can do it, then fuck yeah.
I think with Marvel films at the moment, it depends more on who's writing them than directing them.
Very true. Very, very true. Yes.
Because, like, you're not gonna get... It depends who's writing it, because you're not gonna get, like... I feel like with Marvel, the directors get a lot more help than the writers do. Because they pre-plan, like, the VFX and what shots they need to do. And I'm not saying that they just go out there and, like, shoot, like, they have a picture and shoot, because that's all films, because that's just storyboarding. But, like, they pre-plan out a lot more stuff than the writers, who basically have to start from zero.
Very true, yeah. And I don't know what the process is like, because I think there's a lot less transparency with Marvel and their process of filmmaking. But I feel like there's a lot less collaboration between directors and writers.
Yeah.
I feel like you get your writers and they do their thing, and then you get the director on and they shoot the thing.
Yeah, and obviously sometimes directors, they write the films as well.
Oh yeah,
that happens.
Of course.
Obviously, it's happened a few times with the MCU, where you get director writers. But I feel like that's probably the thing they should be doing more often.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's very true.
They can say
how you get more.
You can say however they can say however much these are director-driven films, but like unless the directors and the writers are either working really close together or they're both the same person, I feel like that doesn't make like full sense to me. Like if they're gonna say that.
Yes, yeah, you are right. You are very right there. I'm not even sure who's writing it. I think it was announced.
I'll have a look.
But I'm not entirely sure. If you take a look, one thing I am excited for though is that Jake Schreier did a lot of practical stuff for the Thunderbolts. It's all very practical based stuff. Not all of it, but like a lot of stuff.
it's apparently Michael Leslie, who wrote The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
I don't necessarily remember the quality of writing in that film. I do remember the film. It's pretty decent. I think there were some pretty glaring plot holes in there, from what I remember. But it was a pretty solid film. Like, it was a pretty decent film.
I'll see what else he's done.
Yeah, see what else.
Yeah, I don't know who he is. Assassin's Creed 2016. Oh no.
Oh no.
Macbeth 2015.
Okay.
I can't say it's.
I'm pretty sure William Shakespeare wrote that film, actually.
He read the movie.
Yeah.
He's writing Now You See Me Free as well, apparently.
Oh, Now You Free Me. Nice.
Now You Free, yeah. Well, I'm not gonna lie, this ain't inspiring me a whole lot.
No, I totally agree there. Okay.
Okay. Is all I'll say.
Is all I'll say as well. Yeah, I'm not gonna hate until I've seen it. It does inspire a lot of confidence. I do know that Ryan Coogler was asked only very recently, like, can you do X-Men? By some guy on an interview, and he was like, I think that's Jake. Jake's doing that. So yeah, we know about this. I think Ryan Coogler would have been an amazing choice. But honestly, after having seen Sinners, get him on for Blade. I'm not gonna lie, you do an amazing job. But yeah, I think that about wraps up the mainline news. Unless you got anything more to say.
I think actually I will add something. I think that sometimes it just clicks when writing something. If this guy, he might not have written some good stuff in the past. It might have a bit of a bleak writing history. But, like, we don't know. This guy could be, like, the biggest X-Men fan in the world, and he knows everything about everyone, and it might just click for him. So
that's the thing. Yeah, we don't know. It only takes one good scripter, and he just takes the right person or whatever. I think, hopefully he is him. Yeah. But yeah, on to quickfire news. Bang, 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 bang. Speaking of directors, Denis Villeneuve has been chosen to direct the next James Bond film. Very exciting stuff.
Good shit.
Love a bit of Denis Villeneuve. Yeah.
As long as the casting's good and not Tom Holland or the other guys.
I'm James Bond.
Yeah.
I love a milkshake.
I can see why they want to cast someone like that, because it's going to appeal to, like, the people that don't really watch James Bond. It really has like the stigma about it that it's for like 50-year-old men. And like,
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And like 50-year-old mums who want to like gawk at the actors. But like,
yeah.
I can see why they want to do that.
But I mean, get I don't know, do you get an unknown or do you get a face in? I'm not too sure there.
I think it's they've done it all the time, pretty much. But like the franchise is strong enough to cast an unknown, and people will go see it anyway.
Well, see, this is the thing. I mean, the name James Bond is what carries the film, what sells the film. It's the Bond flick. It's a James Bond films are always an event, aren't they? It's like, the Bond film. It's special because it's not overly franchised, which obviously now it's starting to dive into a bit more with video games and potential spin-off series and what have you. But I think, yeah, as long as you play it safe, the name James Bond will do enough of the selling. The most recent name actually that I've heard is Aaron Pierre, DC's Jon Stewart. He's a pretty suave guy. I'm sure people aren't going to be happy if that's the case. But yeah, I mean, it's all up in the air at the minute. No, the film hasn't even been written yet, so it'll be a long while before we find out who our next James Bond is.
Not Tom Holland. Not Tom Holland. Not Tom Holland.
Not Tom Holland.
Or Jacob Elordi. Not him either. None of
Although,
these.
all right, okay, straying a little bit away from the quickfire part of the news, but do you remember that time Tom Holland was like, I thought it'd be really fun if we did a movie and it's a spy movie, and then at the end you find out it's a James Bond film.
Oh, hell
Do you
no.
remember that?
Let's not go there.
Yeah. No, so that's that. The Fantastic Four and Superman have had their final trailers this month. We won't do an in-depth breakdown of them because I feel like we've done that on about 3 podcasts now. It's a lot of the same, also a lot of new stuff. We see a lot more personality from people in trailers. We see a lot more powers. Superman got to use his heat vision. Mr. Fantastic got to use his stretchy arms. The Thing has a beard. So potentially some time jumps in there, maybe somewhere.
How does that work? How do you shave a rock beard?
Probably how you shave a rock face, I would assume. Like, you know, in terms of like actual, an actual rock face. Not face, but the side of a rock.
I think he uses but do you think he uses like a sanding tool?
Sandstone or something like that, little wet sandstone, maybe.
like sandpaper. You know, like those things.
Oh,
like the vibrating sandpaper thing.
Oh yeah,
sticks on
probably.
his face and goes,
probably, yeah. Or he chips it off. Maybe, I don't know.
Chisel.
Yeah, probably.
Turns himself into like Giga Chaz. He's got like a crazy jaw.
Wow, Ben, you're looking so chiseled today. Thanks, I did it this morning. Yeah, I mean that's a thing from the comics where he's the last living thing on planet Earth.
I see what you did there.
Haha. So yeah, he has had one in the comics before. So yeah, I think, especially if you're getting Franklin's birth from him, you know, from Sue being pregnant to then giving birth to Franklin and all that, I think there'll be enough time passing over the course of the film for him to grow a beard. Also gives credence to the Fantastic Four life story rumors, where it's, you know, it's going to be set over the course of, I don't know, a certain amount of time, like a year or something like that, where Galactus's arrival is going to be a countdown. Yeah, it looks good. I'm excited for both of these films. Hopefully, they both perform better than Dinosaur movie number 7.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, still on the Marvel train. Mahershala Ali is still ready to be Blade. He was quoted saying, don't get me wrong, I don't have the quote with me. That's quite unprofessional, really. But he was quoted along the lines of saying, I'm ready, call Marvel. I've heard nothing. Let's go. I'm ready. So he's still keen. So, you know, all those rumors of his agent saying that, he's fed up, he's done. Well, he doesn't seem that done, because he still seems pretty keen to be playing the character. We will be hearing him play the character, a kind of a Blade Moon Knight mishmash in, I believe, Marvel Zombies, the animated miniseries coming out later this year. So yeah, Marvel, if you could crack what should be a very simple film to make, let's do it. Let's make Blade. Please, that'd be nice.
Yeah, 2032. You'll get there.
Is that, you know, that's probably not far off from what it will actually be. I'm going to be honest.
First film to take, first MCU film, 10 years in development.
Jesus. Was it announced in like 2019?
Yeah, or 2020, one of them.
No, because 2020 we didn't have a Comic-Con.
Oh, which one? It must have been 2019.
It would have been 2019.
It was the one where they announced where they were like, oh, mutants, the Fantastic Four, you know, at the end. Or
yeah.
They had the image for the Fantastic Four.
So this summer, next month's podcast, it will have been 6 years.
Ooh.
Jesus Christ. That's rough. But that film may not be going too well, but one thing that is going very swimmingly is Supergirl. Just Supergirl. Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow has been renamed just Supergirl, because James Gunn apparently doesn't like subtitles. He doesn't like, Superman ... legacy or whatever. He doesn't like any of the subtitles that superhero films tend to be having these days. He finds it unnecessary, and yeah, fair enough. It is a shame though, because Woman of Tomorrow is a really cool subtitle, especially if it's based off that comic. I think it would bring some more eyes to the comic if it were named that. But yeah, cool. I mean, it's cleaner, isn't it? You know, you got Creature Commandos, you got Peacemaker, you got Superman, you've got Clayface, you've got Supergirl. It's all nice and clean.
Yeah. And then you've got Batman. Oh no, it's just called The Brave and the Bold, isn't it?
It's just called The Brave and the Bold. Yeah, people always call it Batman: The Brave and the Bold.
It's just the TV show, I think.
Yeah, which I watched a couple of episodes of the other day. I was like, God, this slaps. Speaking of things that slap, James Gunn has some.
What?
James Gunn has been going out and beating people. No,
oh, shit. Good luck tomorrow.
He said that his favorite DC projects are still yet to be announced. So he was quoted saying, "There's another TV show that's my favorite thing in all of this. This is hopefully getting made soon. It's just my favorite thing." And then there's the movie. Oh shit, I don't know what I'm allowed to say, but there's a couple of other movies that are being written, one of which is in pretty good shape, another is kind of closer to the start, but we feel very positive about. And then there's a thing I'm writing.
A thing?
What do you think these things are?
I think he's writing a World's Finest film, or like, I don't know. There's a Wonder Woman thing is probably the one that's closer to starting.
Closer to the start?
Yeah. Of writing.
Yeah, probably, I would imagine, yeah. Yeah, I would imagine. Because that's still very early days.
I don't know about that Paradise Lost thing. We've heard a good 0 things about that in the last 2 or 3 years.
He says it's being worked on slowly but surely. It's getting there.
1 word a day.
Oh, Matt Reeves style. Nice.
Yeah. He's actually writing it.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if you're right about that being what he's writing. I think World's Finest makes the most sense, considering he's stated multiple times that he's working very, very closely with the Brave and the Bold writer to make sure it's right. Obviously, yes, Batman's very important. It's very important to him because he loves the character. But I feel like if he's writing a sort of pseudo sequel project to that, then he needs to know how to write that Batman. So if he's writing the World's Finest, then he's going to have to work with the Brave and the Bold writer to make sure it's all cohesive. Because he said it was like a sort of like a pseudo sequel to Superman.
Yeah.
Which leaves a few.
What if it's just a Trinity film? What if it's just all 3 of them?
Trinity could be cool. I think my guesses are for what he's writing is either World's Finest, Trinity, The Terrifics, or Justice League International. Because those are all the kind of things that might spin off of Superman.
He said that he didn't want to reveal it because like he doesn't want it to get, or like it's super top secret because he doesn't want like other people to copy it.
Yeah,
and I don't know what he's insinuating there, because like
no, me neither.
What if these things like are gonna be copied by? Let's say he's probably insinuating it's Marvel, right? There's a lot of stuff about that they actually basically stole the ideas for Avengers Endgame and Infinity War from DC at that time, like with the Justice League films they were planning. That's around. So
which is all just hearsay.
I think it kind of makes sense, but I'm not gonna like get deep into it. But I'm not sure what any of these could be like copied by Marvel unless it's like Trinity, because I mean it can't be the Terrifics. There is technically a Trinity in like the MCU, but 2 of them don't really exist anymore. So
this is the thing. This is what I'm really confused about, because like World's Finest. Well, we already kind of did that with Civil War in a kind of roundabout way. Like we had our 2 top big people in the same film.
It's also called Batman vs Superman. That also happened.
It's also called Batman vs Superman. Yeah, Trinity is what Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man.
Yeah, and 2 of them.
It couldn't be the Terrifics because we're getting the Fantastic Four this year. Justice League International. Is there like I suppose the New Warriors are kind of a corporate superhero team. So it could be it could be like New Warriors or something. So it could be JLI.
Could be New Gods. I guess you could say the Celestials in a way, but I don't.
Fuck, New Gods would be sick, but New Gods is like the Eternals.
Yeah, that's
in a roundabout way. It's not like the Eternals, but like it's their equivalent, I guess.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. And like, I don't know. I actually don't know what he's on about with that. And unless it's some like completely like bizarre new idea that they've come up with that is like so groundbreakingly amazing that everyone will want to get in on it.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's the other stuff he says, like the TV show that it's his favorite thing in all of this. He loves Green Arrow.
Could be, but they might have done a Green Arrow TV show before.
No, they didn't. That was Batman.
That was Bat Arrow.
That was Batman in a green hood. And then there's a movie that he loves. A couple of other movies that have been written. I guess Wonder Woman might be the one that's closer to the start, but he's already mentioned that Wonder Woman's in development. Yeah, I mean it's all up in the air. Who knows? Who knows? It could be anything, to be honest. So I think we'll just have to stay tuned and hopefully soon that'll all be revealed.
Well,
yeah.
No, I was going to say that Sergeant Rock is also still happening. So I don't think it's any of them things that he was talking about because they have it written. It's not, there were people saying that like the script was terrible and that's why they cancelled the film. But as always, none of these people are right.
No, there was other people saying it was scheduling issues and stuff like that, or like slight tweaks they need to make to the script that wouldn't have lined up with like a summer shoot. So it had to be pushed back.
I think James Gunn said why it got pushed back. I think it was to do with the scheduling more than anything. Because they had to do a lot of outside stuff.
Yes, yeah. He said something here where he said, I feel like we're in a pretty good place. We're still moving forward, but it's not going to be... what would Peter want me to say here? So it's still moving forward, but yeah, right now it wasn't exactly where we wanted it to be creatively, and so it needs to change a little bit. So yeah, it's still happening, just not quite as soon, which is fair enough because it's one of those like Clayface where it wasn't supposed to happen anyway. It was just a really good script was presented to them, and they thought, yeah, let's make this. So if it comes a year later than it was initially supposed to, fine.
Yeah. As long as it ends up being good, it doesn't, no point rushing.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's what we're here for. I think people are tired of slop and we're looking forward to good movies. So yeah, hopefully it is. Looking to the future, it's looking bright.
We can believe that it's going to be good. We have faith.
Yeah, we have faith. But yeah, unless you got anything more to say on that, I think that about wraps up this episode of the podcast.
This time, I don't have anything to say. Like I said, I hope it's good.
Yes. So yeah, exciting month coming up ahead of us next month. Obviously, I've got that Q&A with James Gunn tomorrow, which I'm very much looking forward to. Hopefully, we get some little nuggets out of that. And if not, then it'll just be a nice experience. And then this month we've got Superman releasing, we've got Fantastic Four releasing. So yeah, it should be a pretty big month. Obviously, Comic-Con is on again this month. So yeah, it's gonna be a big month.
DC and Marvel aren't there though, are they? Like,
are they not?
Panels? I don't think so.
Oh no, I think Peacemaker's got a panel there, but that's about it.
There's
for DC.
I don't think either of them have big panels, like big hall panels.
No, but I mean that's all next month. But until then, I've been Brandon.
I have been Will,
and we'll catch you in the next one.
Bye bye.